The Chargers think deep thoughts for the first round of the NFL draft, while the Rams are in position for a potential day 2 steal. And the Clippers say that they want to bring the band back together for next season. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is April 28th, 2023. We added a new subscriber to the Angelino Familia yesterday. Good times. Appreciating every last one of you who joins the Angelino Familia. Now, if you enjoy what we put out about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It lets you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. I am back home. I am with my wife. I absolutely still like reaching out and chatting sports with you guys. Now, before we go through the news and notes and look at the scoreboard, David Peralta drove in both Dodger runs. Obviously wasn't enough. Look, Pittsburgh took the series with a 6-2 victory. Julio Urias has lost his 3rd consecutive decision so far this year. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are back in town. They're going to host St. Louis at 7:10. Dustin May, he's 2-1 with a 3.07 ERA. Jack Flaherty is going for St. Louis. He's 2-2 with a 3.29 ERA. Also, Game 6 in the NBA first round playoffs. Memphis is at the Lakers at 7:30. LA leads the series 3-2. Once again, another chance to close out for the purple and gold. Now, I try not to get hardcore judgmental about first round NFL draft picks because it's an inexact science. I mean, the way I like to say is, instead of giving a letter grade, an A through an F, like so many pundits like to do, instead of saying winners and losers, I just ask myself, does the pick make sense? Because they have intel, individual teams have intel, individual teams have needs that the scribes do not know about. So, taking Quentin Johnson of TCU for the Chargers at pick 21 does make sense. It does. Now, the pundits are like screaming about, say, Zay Flowers of Boston College. Oh my God, Jordan Addison of USC is available. I have an issue with Jordan Addison going to the Chargers. He was taken a couple of picks later. There's nothing wrong with Jordan Addison. Not really. He's the best route runner in the draft. He just popped eyes wide open from sea to shining sea, whether it was at USC or Pittsburgh. 2 years ago, he was considered the greatest wide receiver in college football. But the route running and the hands describes every single Chargers receiver that is already on the roster. Keenan Allen, et cetera, et cetera. What this guy, Johnson, brings to the table is something the other receivers can't. Blazing speed, a deep threat, yards after the catch. Keenan Allen will catch a football. Keenan Allen will get tackled after catching the football. Johnson, because of his speed, is difficult to bring down after he catches the deep ball. This adds a new dimension to the Chargers offense that they didn't really have last year. The guy that they did have for it last year, he was their 5th receiver. And by the way, he left to go play for Las Vegas this upcoming year. So they had a hole to fill. Now, I will grant you that I would have preferred tight end. Absolutely. And both Dalton Kincaid and the guy from Notre Dame were available yesterday. But they decided to go with a deep threat. There's nothing wrong with having somebody who can stretch the field. It's something that's worked for a lot of teams for a lot of years. You want variety among your receiving core. Now, I don't even necessarily think that that's trying to drink the hopium. I'm simply saying, does the pick make sense? And the answer is yeah. To me, it does. So again, when the scribes judge it, when they give it a letter grade, when I say I would have preferred a tight end, that is vanity speaking. Vanity. Does a pick make sense? It does. Lamar Jackson broke a record with his contract extension with the Ravens yesterday. Now, if you think that that doesn't impact Justin Herbert's contract situation, you're fooling yourself. It absolutely does. Jackson's averaging $52 million a year, and that tops Jalen Hurts' contract for $51. Point being, Herbert comes out yesterday and says, yeah, you know, there's no timeline for me to sign an extension with the Chargers. There is no rush. Of course, there's no rush for him. The longer he waits, the more money he could theoretically get week to week, for Pete's sakes. Joe Burrow is still out there, haven't signed his extension yet. So yeah, he doesn't want to sign immediately. Every day passes, the Chargers have to make it rain just that much more. And yes, I just compared Justin Herbert to a stripper at the Spearmint Rhino. Meanwhile, for the Rams, at this moment, at the time of this taping, they are 5 picks away from making their first selection, which would be in round 2 of the NFL draft. In my Rams preview, I kept talking about edge rushing, how it was very important for this team to be able to do one of 2 things: either protect their quarterback or get to the other opposing quarterback and murder the opposing quarterback. The reason that I don't believe that they're going for offensive line is twofold. One, offensive line class this year is pretty weak, according to a lot of coaches who went to the press and spoke on the condition of anonymity. The second reason I believe that they have to get to the quarterback, aside from the depth at edge rusher, is you got to do something to ease Aaron Donald's burden just a little bit, wouldn't you say? So, there are edge rushers available early in the second round that they would like. Keon White of Georgia Tech, Derek Hall of Auburn. It's a team with holes across the roster, but again, because of that, and because there are always players that fall out of the first round, do the Rams do the obvious thing and go for an edge rusher? Or do the Rams potentially break philosophy and say, wait a second, we have a first round talent here, let's go pick that guy off? Because among players who did fall, there's Joey Porter of Penn State, Brian Branch of Kentucky, both of them possibilities in the defensive backfield. Remember, the Rams' defensive philosophy included taking a defensive back and just lining him up all over the field. They called it the star position. That would be what Jalen Ramsey did. So would you theoretically say, you know what, that position is more important, getting a replacement for Jalen Ramsey at the star, than it is for edge rusher? For that matter, maybe they would prefer tight end. Michael Mayer of Notre Dame, who I thought would go to the Chargers at pick 21, is still available in the second round. Do you think Tyler Higbee is the answer at Notre Dame? Is the answer for the Rams? So there's all kinds of possibilities, including trading down for the Rams today. Clippers team president Lawrence Frank said signing Russell Westbrook is a goal. Quote, "It's filled something we need. You love when guys get second chances and just knock it out of the park." He adapted. He basically said, "What do you need from me? What can I give to you?" Unquote. Frank said the Clippers will be creative in improving the roster and that Coach Ty Lue will return. Quote, "Why wouldn't he be back? Of course he's back," unquote. That was for all the reporters out there who swore on a stack of whatever passes for their holy book, who were saying that Tyronn Lue was on the hot seat. However, Frank did say that the team needs to respect the regular season. Now, he tried to make it sound like it wasn't a thinly veiled threat at Kawhi Leonard, but how could you not think of that as a problem with the load management philosophy that they've had over the last couple of years? They said that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are part of the Clippers' future. So to Bill Plaschke and Stephen A. Smith, suck it, they're coming back. The Athletic also reports that despite the fact that Kawhi Leonard has a knee problem, the ACL is fully intact. That was the one that had to be repaired 2 years ago. And that Kawhi Leonard will be available at the start of the regular season. So, a lot of news with the Clippers. Desmond Bane effectively guaranteed a Memphis victory tonight in Los Angeles against the Lakers. Quote, "We are going to be back for a Game 7 in front of the best fans of the NBA," unquote. The Memphis Grizzlies will never, ever learn, will they? This is an extremely immature basketball team. It blows me away. John Morant, before the start of the series, basically stating that the only team that matched up with them is Boston. In other words, every team in the West, including the Lakers, were no match for the Memphis Grizzlies. That was dumb. That was dumb, and I like John Morant. Then, of course, we've been talking about Dylan Brooks damn near nonstop for an entire week for his stupidity, talking about poking the bear, and then LeBron James basically tore him limb from limb. Now we got Desmond Bane. Fortunately, after tonight, I would assume that Memphis is going to have all the time in the world to read self-help books, particularly the one titled, "Shut Your Mother Effing Mouth in the Postseason." That would be a good book for them to read. Dave Roberts laughed off why 6 current and former Dodgers are damn near simultaneously on paternity leave last week. Another Dodger staffer said, quote, "Everyone had a great all-star break," unquote. Waka waka. Really? If you ask me, it means nobody bought the rubbers. Straight and simple. You got to cover that jibby unless you want to miss time during next season, guys. No team has allowed more stolen bases this year than the LA Dodgers at 38. In Pittsburgh alone, the Pirates stole 12 bases. 12. You know how many stolen bases the Dodgers have all year? 11. Now, it's a distinct possibility that part of the reason that teams are running wild on the Dodgers is because of the fact that Will Smith has been out for a week with a concussion. That's a possibility. But I have a sinking feeling that there might be more issues in play with regarding a walk basically becoming an automatic double for the opposition. The Kings have recalled 6 players to help the team prepare for Saturday's must-win playoff game versus Edmonton. But the 6 players that were called up are likely not going to play in the game. They're basically just crash test dummies for practice. And besides that, the franchise wants to give them, quote, playoff-like preparations for later in their careers, unquote. They're just crash test dummies. They just need extra bodies to hit. New UCLA football running back Carson Steele has a pet alligator. An alligator. You heard me right, an effing alligator. An alligator, for Pete's sakes. You know, yeah, you run into a girl and she's goth, but she's kind of hot, and she can't wait to show you her tarantula. Somebody hook her up with Carson Steele. Let's see how nihilistic the goth chick is then, right? I mean, it's bananas. Now, I will say the alligator is not on campus. Steele told the LA Times that when he was a kid, he wanted a turtle or a lizard for Christmas. And apparently, his dad just took that to the extreme. He felt like basically a turtle or a lizard was a gift for beta bitches, I guess. So yeah, he shows up with an alligator for Christmas. So now, his apex predator buddy sleeps in a big tank next to Steele's room back in Indiana. By the way, I did not know this. Not only are they apex predators, human beings are apex predators. Unless, of course, you play for the San Diego Padres. If you have watched this channel regularly since bowl season, I've been extremely repetitive about both local college programs. The first school to sanity wins. The first school that plays defense will win, right? And I like the approach of the new UCLA defensive coordinator. I do. But USC kept Alex Grinch. So what gives? According to USA Today, the difference maker on the coaching staff might actually be defensive line coach Sean Nua, who previously coached at Michigan, turned that front into a bunch of monsters. And USC spent a lot of time in the transfer portal trying to boost its defensive line this year. If, in fact, the Trojans are improving, if they do get into the backfield more, if there's more than just one person, i.e. Tui Tagovailoa, who could generate sacks for the Trojans next season, maybe, but I'm still not sold. Finally, billboards are popping up all around LA demanding that Reggie Bush get his Heisman Trophy back. Bush was stripped of the award for accepting illegal benefits while at USC a couple of decades ago. Let me know what you think in the comments thread with everything that's going on. Tell me how you think the Rams should do. Tell me what you think of the Chargers going a little quirky with their first pick. And if you enjoyed talking LA sports, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos, because we're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.